reviewing every mecha anime I've seen as of 2026. I'm just gonna go through all 207. Let's start off with easier ones, and that is Voltron. Voltron is a normal kids show from the 80s. So if you like Transformers, you'll probably like Voltron, all that jazz. I have not seen Go Lion. I am speaking clearly on Voltron. So, yeah, shabang. It is there. Next, Back Arrow. Oh my goodness, it has been a while. But Back Arrow is pretty generic, all things considered. I do kind of like it almost feels like a D&D. Maybe that's not the best way to describe it, but like, the world is very small and explorable. It's a video game. Like that, maybe that's a better explanation. Like, this is closer to like, oh, you get dropped into Majora's Mask, right? And then you gotta fight God and all that. So ironically enough, it is kind of like Majora's Mask. It's fine. Not the greatest thing. Then we got Dual Parallel Adventures. We got the normal and the special. I really like the atmosphere it has. Now, to be fair, this could be an aspect of the dub. I don't know. I haven't seen the sub. But I do know that, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, a lot of scenes are cut from the dub, and I do believe there is also cut music too. I feel that actually helps build the atmosphere for certain scenes, such as when, say, they are searching for the Rei Ayanami clone and searching for her, and it's nothing except rain and footsteps, and that's it. It creates a nice atmosphere, nice set pieces, and even though it's very clearly an Eva clone, thankfully it's not. It took from Eva, it took the designs and the characters. It did not take the mind-boggling interestness, I would say, of Eva. I do love Eva, but listen, not every director can make an Eva. I'm gonna be real. Hell, I gotta be honest, even Ava sometimes can't do an Ava. So yeah, sometimes it's better to just steal the thumbnail. You don't gotta steal the video. Professional YouTuber right here. Alright, anyway though, I do think it's quite solid. And then the special is just more of the same. So honestly, both are in B tier. Ooh, probably gonna be our first thingamabob that gets me crucified. That's fun. I always love these. That is Gundam Halfway's Flash, the first one. Guess what? I'm not a crazy fan of, honestly, most Gundams. Like, I've seen a lot of Gundam, but there's very few Gundams that I would put in A or even S tier. And so, with that being said, Halfway's still pretty good. It's alright. Nothing horrible. The animation is good. It has a really good interpretation of scale. That is something I will never criticize Sunrise for. They do always give a nice scale to any mecha series they are participating in, but, like, as far as, I'm not super big on Halfway, and honestly, I know it's a meme, I know it is, but I am not a crazy fan of the new type shenanigans, which thankfully Halfway doesn't have that much of, right? Especially compared to, say, Unicorn. So, honestly, I do like that about that. I guess continuing talking about Halfway and the fact that I like that he's not a new type, but I also don't really like him much as a character. I do like it as a sequel to Char's Counterattack, but then again, I also have my own issues with Char's Counterattack. So it's kind of like, hey, look, man, the pitchforks are down the hall, okay? Just go grab them. Oh, Eureka 7, or OW, the special rather than the actual show itself. The show should be somewhere down here. I don't know. We'll yap about it then. But anyway, the special time travel shenanigans, I don't like the direction Eureka 7, any of the Eureka 7 specials, sequels, or anything of that sort have gone in after the original series. I like the original series. It showed up, did a good 50 episode mecha series, and then was like, yo, peace, and then left. And now we're all kind of stuck with certain shows that we will be talking about. Do I hate it? No. Obviously, Eureka 7, thank goodness it still has clean animation, so it's got that, so D. I saw Robotech. I think Robotech is really good. I like most of the characters. I think they're well developed and well fleshed out. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of love triangles, but at the same time, I think they handle it pretty well and pretty respectfully, honest with the stuff they're given. I'm not really an idol guy. Obviously, I like Oshinoko. I have not read the manga. Do not spoil me, please. Dude, I am dodging spoilers left and right. But yeah, as someone who doesn't really like idol anime, with the like sole exception of Oshinoko and Macross or Robotech, I think that part is actually pretty cool, and it doesn't bother me that much. Yeah, honestly, everything is good. And then we get to season 2. I don't like the suit design. Honestly, I think the animation is a step down. Okay, this is good. Sounds very stupid. It feels like a completely different show. That's because it is. The original Robotech was 3 different shows, basically smushed together to create the the Robotech saga. I think, obviously, that's really stupid. You could have just adapted more Macross. But if Robotech is anything, it is a terrible rights issue. And thankfully, I'm not talking about human rights, but honestly, with how tangled up these rights are, it's getting pretty close. So yeah, season 3 of Robotech, actually a decent improvement, though. Or wait, no. I might be blind. Hold on. Yes, I screwed that up so bad. Oh my goodness. I saw the blonde woman. I mistook the blonde woman for the other blonde woman. My bad. But yeah, Robotech season 3, I much prefer. I prefer the characters. I prefer the atmosphere. I prefer just the general aesthetic and environments they set up with the post-apocalyptic nature. It's overall quite the spectacle, especially for what is honestly a lower budget anime. Like, let's be real, Macross looks good. I wonder why Macross, one of the biggest media franchises in Japan, looks good. Such a mystery, isn't it? Okay, I did technically lie. I have seen Macross. I've seen Macross Do You Remember Love? I saw the English dub of this movie. It is quite good. Obviously, it's a retelling of, the original Macross, which is basically smushed, chopped up, and combobbled into Robotech Season 1. And then I watched it, because I'm like, hey, I should be able to understand what's going on, right? And I did. And I enjoyed it. And the animation was beautiful. And the soundtrack was very good. And on top of that, it just had good production. I'm gonna be real. Listen, sometimes the story can take a backseat for a production, because it is the exact same story as Macross Season 1. It just is in movie format. So naturally, a lot of context, a lot of stuff gets cut, but at the same time, production go burr. So yeah, honestly, another B tier. I like it more than halfway. Ooh, I got tons of Pat Labor stuff. So I might do a little bit more Pat Labor and just kind of, put it all on the table. Just fully embrace the pain that is about to come from me stating my opinions. Okay, so I think that is... Oh, that's Pat Labor Movie 3. Remember that. This is Pat Labor The New Files. So we got the OVA. Yep, OVA. TV show. New Files. Pat Labor Movie 2. Pat Labor Movie 3. And where's... Oh, no. I think... No. Yes. The OVA, TV show, Movie 1, New File, 3 movies together. Let's just... Okay, Pat Labor easily balances comedy, stakes, and just overall mecha aesthetic together in a bright, colorful package that, honestly leads to a very positive influence on anyone who watches it. If you watch this show, you will get enjoyment out of it, and while it doesn't necessarily have a long runtime, it cannot use that to its advantage. It still has a decent number of episodes which allow you to get attached and understand the dynamic of the characters. It's very fun, very enjoyable, and I like it very, very much. It's a solid A, if not maybe an S tier. It's probably going to be the bottom of S, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. Next is Pat Labor TV Files. A. So it takes what the OVA does and makes a show out of it. The characters get explored a little bit more. We get a lot more of just general goodness. However, once again, production steps down. Why does production step down? I don't know. You tell me. Let's compare an OVA to a TV show. I wonder why the production takes a slight step down. And when I say slight, obviously, it is noticeable, but at the same time, The TV show still looks really good. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus and say, oh, this looks terrible, you know, fire the anime. No, it looks good. Okay? Trust me, I've seen a lot worse. We will look at some worse looking shows going forward. New Files is a continuation of kind of the TV show continuity and also the OVA continuity. It merges all the things together. It also provides closure to a lot of the arcs, such as the Griffin arc, and then it just explores the characters even more. Sometimes in a little more tragic manner, but at the same time, it still keeps its goofy exterior and its fun-loving nature. Because at the end of the day, this is a mecha series that is very fun. Like, you will enjoy your time with Division 2, you will enjoy all the characters, and you will enjoy the goddamn crazy person with the giant shotgun, okay? You will enjoy it. Movie 1 is probably the best Patlabor film. I do not care what you say. So, I'm just gonna stick this right out the gate. These two are gonna be here just because they have good production value. That is it. They are here. These are animation coasters. Why? Because this is not Patlabor. This is a bloody, like, political drama that is, you know, yapping about Japan's, you know, political state during the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s and all that, and their ties to the UN. And while it does a good job of that, it kind of shoots itself in the foot by being like, hey, what if we just make Patlabor sad? What if we just make Patlabor not fun? What if we make Division 2 not want to be there? What if we barely get to see Division, and that's even for 3. 3's terrible at that. Dude, we literally see Division 2, I think it's like twice in like the whole film. I'm sorry. I'm here for Patlabor. Oh, but it's a new thing. Cool. This is not Patlabor spin-off. This is called Patlabor 3. That is what it is referred to as. Okay? If I watch Mazinger Z, you know who's supposed to be on screen? Mazinger Z and Koji Kabuto. Okay? Sometimes you can change it. Sometimes you can do Koji without Mazinger Z. But at the same time, you really shouldn't. And unless you're planning to lock in and make a really, really good film, guess what? Don't do it. Change stuff to make it better. Don't change for the sake of change. Don't insert political, like, nonsense if the entire point is for Patlabor, especially since the political mumbo jumbo is, it is good, okay? Obviously, I'm not Japanese, despite what I decided to take a Japanese man as my portrait. Don't worry about that. But, like, I obviously would probably get more appreciation if I was a Japanese citizen and if I was old. I am neither of those things, so I get less enjoyment out of it. And on top of that, it doesn't really affect the characters in a true emotional way. For example, in Patlabor 1, we have the very nice contrast where our main hero and are dealing with the artificial software turning on Alphonse and making Alphonse having the possibility of becoming bad. And that aspect is terrifying to our main heroine. And then our main hero, guess what? He is very stressed out because it involves his dad's company. So it affects both of our main protagonists on an emotional level. This is a Patlabor film. So, like, honestly, if you actually like Patlabor, and don't just want to get preached to about Japan's involvement in the UN, just watch Patlabor 1. Like, I'm gonna be real. So, yeah, I know we're starting the list off pretty controversial. To be fair, if you're like a political, nut job, I'm just gonna call you that. You might like Patlabor 2, or who knows? Maybe listen. If you're like super anti-UN, all that jazz, it might be up your sleeve. I don't know. I don't know how much. Especially because I'm not touching politics for a while. That's not happening on this channel until, I don't know, maybe I die or something. Anyway, ooh, actually no. Okay, good. I did not mess up the team. So I have the Marriage of the God and Soul. Go Danner is really cool. It has good animation, good characters. I'm gonna be real though. If this was only one season, it would probably be bad, if I'm being real. Season 2 is kind of where the story truly sets in. But at the same time, it's not even treated like a season. Like, there's no gap in the story. It's just a straight continuation. Almost as if, like, imagine you were watching, or not even, like, JJK. Sometimes you will watch a season where, like, parts 1 and part 2 come right beside each other. And honestly, That's basically what this is. It's like part 1, part 2. It's just weird. They call things season 2s nowadays when, like, honestly, it's just the show continuing. But it's like, oh, we ran out of budget. Shoot, gotta let it make money. Oh, we got money now. Re-release. Go make more episodes. Like, that's just what it is. And like, I just invented the season 2, but no, I'm having a hard time describing this because it's literally just, it's so much. Like, if I like put someone in a chair, force them to watch this, they would not be able to. Season 1 and 2, like, nothing changes at all. There's no new art direction. There's no new anime. Like, season 2 is just the continuation of season. The only thing that happened was there was like a half a year to like a year gap between the two coming out. Like, you could have said the episodes went on hiatus and boom, there you go. Like, that's what I mean. Like, normally seasons at least have a different art aesthetic. Like, for example, seasons 2 and 3 of JJK. This, nothing. It's the same. It's just the same. Ooh, Dynamic Productions, Super Robot Wars promotional short movie. I had said words. It's good. It's fun action. It has good production. What is the story? Sayaka gets kidnapped. Koji goes saves her. Koji gets his ass beat. Then Mazinger. There you go. Hope you're happy. Yeah, I don't know the story. Like, you're watching a 5-minute short film to watch robots punch each other. Don't lie to me about the story, okay? Okay, heathen. And now I got to fix my slip up. So remember how I said that this is not the OVA, this is the show? This is the OVA. This is the special episode. I'm just bad. I got 207 things here. I'm just cooked. I might need glasses. I don't know. So, if you ask my friends, they'll probably tell you I'm insane anyway, so it's all good. But you know what? If I'm insane, give me my giant robot. I'm already halfway there. Anyway, the show's better than the OVA. Once again, good production there. Boom. Oh, okay, then we got these specials for the... this is the one where the mecha protagonist gets chucked onto the desolate planet covered by water, and he learns to be more human. Yada yada. It's a good, decent characters. It's really forgettable. I forget most of what happens, except for the sole exclusion of the general plot, and also the atmosphere. Oh my goodness, I love the background designs and the backgrounds. Like, whoever on the production team was just, you know, in the back, just making the backgrounds, beautiful. All of the background shots, all of the atmosphere shots, literally every time we are not looking at the characters, it is the most beautiful thing in the world. And guess what? Then we have the characters. And the characters are just kind of generic. Like, it's just nice, adorable woman and stoic man. It's dude Rei Ayanami and like kind of Mercury, but like not gay. Like, there you go. And also like kind of more angry and more feisty. And there you go. That's the whole show. Enjoy. Anyway, it is solid. Also, it doesn't have any like weird morality questions like Godaner. I talked about that way more in the review I actually made for the show. And by the way, some of these there will be reviews for on my channel. You can watch those instead of, you know, listening to me yap, because I do kind of need to go fast if I want to get all 207 of these done in a reasonable amount of time. My goodness, I signed up for too much. But it's not signing up if you do it yourself. This is just me peer pressuring my past self into doing something. Alright, or future, I don't know. OVA, more of the same. Oh, this is Daiton 3. It's a love letter to super robot shows of the 70s. I do really appreciate that era. I feel like that's not that crazy of a statement to say, considering, once again, I am literally, like, disguised as Koji Kabuto right now. I am pretending to be the super robot 70s protagonist guy. I like, which is based on that, you think, oh, I get more enjoyment than probably a lot of these others, especially since it doesn't overstay its welcome. But I feel like it doesn't properly capture the love that a lot of people have for these shows and what aspects they like about them. But at the same time, that's just my own and personal interpretation, because I have also met other super robot enthusiasts who get a kick out of this. So I appreciate it, I like it, I don't think it overstays its welcome, but at the end of the day, it's not the show. I'd say it works better in its actual Mars Badesco or Nadesco thingamabob. That is far more... It works far better there than it does as its own OVA. Ooh, Aquarion special episode. Why is this the first Aquarion thing to show up? Well, who cares? Actually, you know what? I'll put other stuff. You suck. Anyway, Aquarion OVA, pretty cool. I do like that they wanted to have a big event. I still, on my life, genuinely think that Aquarion is a money laundering scheme. I cannot explain why, but like, dude, this thing started in like 2005, or it started like in the early 2000s, and yet for some magical reason, it is still going to this day with multiple OVAs, series, and shows, and all of the series happen to be over 12 episodes. Like, you cannot... I don't understand, because it can't be a money laundering scheme, because the animation is there. Animation takes money, so where are they getting the money from? Because I don't know. I'm like the one person in the universe that has probably seen every season of Aquarion. I will genuinely ask, who else has seen Aquarion? I want to know who exists. The only people I know who even know Aquarion exists are the people who like the original opening. And why? Because the original opening is really good. I'm pretty sure it won some awards for best original anime opening or something along those lines in the early 2000s. That's really good. The rest of them do not hold a candle to that, by the way, so just get screwed. Although this one it's a remake of the original song, so yeah. Also, it does weird reincarnation things, so crossovers are very hard, but at the same time, OVA is pretty good. And now let's just yap about the actual show. The original show sets up such a phenomenal atmosphere. I keep mentioning that, but a lot of these older shows, their characters are not that great. I'm going to be frank. Obviously, you remember certain ones. You remember Ryoma Nagare from, Get a Robo Armageddon. You remember that. Obviously, I remember Koji Kabuto pretty well. And even Amuro and Judah. And, like, a lot of mecha have the ability to make these fantastical characters, these larger-than-life robots, pale in comparison to what are essentially just men, right? Mecha has the capacity and storytelling in order to do that. But unfortunately, a lot of these more mediocre shows fall into the category where they heavily rely, rather than the potential and the strength of its characters, the atmosphere and world it creates. Because this is a post-apocalyptic, sort of angelic mixed with classic music hybrid of a world. And that, for the original Aquarion, is so incredibly strong that even though I would say the main character and the main love interest are not that great, they do still fulfill a phenomenal role in this phenomenal world that really does put it in a very solid, probably B tier. Yes. And then the newest season of Aquarion, I fell asleep. I think it was during episode 12 and 13. I wasn't even tired. I just don't care about the show that much. But it sucks. Also, the CGI in this thing, not for the mech, but for like the weird angels of the reincarnations, those are terrible. I hate those. Those are bad. It also is not a sequel to the original Aquarion or any of the Aquarion sequels. It's once again just kind of in the corner doing its own thing. So it's just kind of like, why are, like, dude, this is why, like, this season in particular, this and another season genuinely made me think that this is a money laundering scheme. Like, that's why. That's how bad this is, okay? Like, it's so bad, I genuinely thought it was a money laundering. I don't know how bad of an insult that is, but it will be noted for future reference. Alright, what do you guys want me to do next? Oh, wait, there's no chat, because I'm not big enough to live stream, you evil Knievel's. Anyway, subscribe. I love shamelessly plugging my YouTube channel in the midst of the YouTube videos where I am very inconsistent and very hectic because I have no idea what is going on. It is very crazy. Ooh, Transformers 1. Same as Voltron. I would argue, though, vocal performances kind of carry, and there's just a natural charm to G1. Ooh, we're going to be talking about Mazinger Z. Lots of Mazinger, isn't there? You know what? Original manga is very good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a major story structure, but Go Nagai is such a captivating writer that the individual issues are very nice. And on top of that, he has such a love for characters. And not so, I don't mean so much as like, oh, he writes romance the best. I would argue that Koji and Sayaka's dynamic in the manga is so much better than the original cartoon. Because in the original cartoon, it's a little messy, just to say the least. But yeah, overall, the manga is really good. Baron Ashura is a great normal villain, with Dr. Hell having a major presence. Baron Ashura is able to properly condemn the feeling of escalation. And on top of that, with the goofier and more exaggerated cartoony-ish characters, when you do get a hint of Go Nagai's gore or lust, it suddenly hits far more potent. And you would think that that would cause tone whiplash. And I'm going to be real, a lot of people talk about tone whiplash, and sometimes I understand that. But for particular things like this, no, I should have tone whiplash. Why? Because someone just got shot. We were having dinner and someone died. I feel like that's a good reason to have tone whiplash. That's the point of the scene, to take you off guard and throw you out of your comfort zone. Someone's brain was modified by a guy called Dr. Hell. Like, we are not in the kid leagues, dog. I know, like, old mecha anime has this, like, idea of, like, being cartoony, but this is, like, the first, like, major mecha anime success apart from, like, Gigant. So the idea that it's been kiddie is ridiculous. Like, dude, people die, and not, like, like, you know, everyone dies. Everyone dies eventually, you know, mortality sucks. But, like this is not a kid's manga. I don't understand where the phrase mecha anime was for younger audiences and Gundam took it for higher. Nah. People die, bro. You are not safe. There is no safety for you. You are screwed. Run if you are in Go Nagai's world. Speaking of dark stuff, Mazinger Z and the inferior version of Devilman merging together. If this were a manga accurate crossover, it would, although if it was a manga accurate crossover, it would probably end up like blowing up the planet or something. So maybe don't do that. But yeah, overall, it's still fun though. Like, if you like classic Go Nagai, that love is still there. You know, it's definitely not going to, you know, shoot you in the foot or anything of the sort. Like, you're not having a bad time watching a Go Nagai movie. Like, come on, it's just fun. Same thing with Great Mazinger versus Great. Just another fun experience. But honestly, oh boy, I will not talk about Infinity yet, but we'll have to see, because I believe that I think this is probably the best movie for Mazinger Z. Maybe not. Depends on... I go back and forth between this and Infinity, obviously. I mean, hey, if Mazinger Zero got, you know, an anime movie, I would probably cry tears of joy, so that would probably also win. But anyway, this is probably the quintessential Mazinger Z movie. It is fun, but at the same time, it has that underlying feeling of dread. The animation is very good, especially for the time. Obviously now, oh, I watched the Chainsaw Man movie. This doesn't look as good as... Yeah, welcome to, like, the real world, buddy. Believe it or not, when something existed in the 70s, it didn't have the production value of things do now, right? But the production leads to animation being smooth, characters being on model, overall set pieces being rather detailed, just enjoyable, attacks feel powerful. But the thing that elevates this film is, ironically enough, something that the other films that I have talked about that are more, you know, miserable and sadder, fail to truly prop up, which is a feeling of dread mixed with the overall feeling of heroism. Koji, spoiler alert, Koji is not invincible in Mazinger Z. The Great General of Darkness presumes and is perceived as this next level threat after Dr. Hell. And we know that to be the case because of how badly his normal soldiers are able to take on Z and able to damage it. But Koji, despite, you know, having a broken down Z, despite having Shiro in the hospital, despite all of this happening on his birthday, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, Mazinger Z is, one of its core themes is the responsibility placed upon in every young man. You can either become a god or a devil. You can either make or destroy. So, whether or not the outcome is destined, you still give it your all. Why? Because that is the responsibility you have as a man. And that is the responsibility Koji Kabuto has with Mazinger Z. And that just overall narrative thoroughness throughout the entire film, combine that with the legendary appearance of Great Mazinger and, you know, Kenzo Kabuto making an appearance, just lead the film to having a much stronger narrative than honestly most mecha anime at the time. And even now it still holds up really well. And like I know it's kind of weird to glaze like a 70s mecha anime movie this hard, but genuinely I think you would get a lot of enjoyment out of it just as an individual. Now obviously if you're a TikTok brain, loser, you might not like it, but that's not my problem. So yeah, I'm talking to the big G's, Anyway, now we're getting into some manga. That's right, I can read. You didn't know that, did you? Man, I told you, I mentioned JJK, so everyone assumed I couldn't read no more. But yeah, we got Mazinger Angels and Mazinger Angels Z. This is just a love letter. The Go Nagai he's genuinely a major influence on the Japanese industry, and you can probably link anything you like back to him at some point in time, most likely within like 4 or 5 steps. So yeah, guess what? You like Go Nagai. Too bad for you. It's official. You just like him now. And so do a lot of mangakas. So what do? They show their love and appreciation for him. So they do that by making goofy mecha anime. Goofy mecha manga that everyone will love, enjoy, and, keep close to their hearts. With goofy and fun-loving characters in, interesting scenarios. While it doesn't have a necessary deep story, it doesn't really need it. You're just there for the fun and for the humor and for the Go Nagai goodness. Anyway, now we're moving on to this. Okay, despite its cover, it does look more like a comic than it does an actual manga. That's my own personal view of it. I could obviously be very, very wrong. But at the end of the day, it is technically a manga crossover between Transformers and Mazinger Z. I love the presence they give to Mazinger. One thing that a lot of people seem to forget is, yes, Mazinger Z is a hero, but at the same time, like, the quote, you could either become God or a demon. Like, it has its terrifying features when it wants to be. When its eyes glow yellow and its chest burns with the heat of the sun, you run. Like, it's not that simple. It's not that hard. It's quite simple. Oh, this is the retelling of the original manga. No, it isn't. It's kind of a retelling, but it's closer to the new kind of retelling of Mazinger Z and how it's viewed in more modern days, more like God, even more God and less science fiction. Despite the fact that it had even less science fiction to begin with. But yeah, so it kind of just exaggerates aspects of Mazinger Z. I don't like it that much, if I'm being real, but it's not bad. It could be a lot, like, terrible. Like, it could genuinely be so much worse. Like, I couldn't imagine something being that much worse than it, that it makes it look like a... Alright, screw it. I'm talking about I gotta talk about high evolution films. Like, these are terrible. I can't hold it in any longer. I gotta add it. Just no. This is the no tier. Like, bro, I hate. This is probably one of the worst films I have ever seen. Oh, but you've only seen it one time. Yeah. I'm only ever going to see it. That is not changing. Like, genuinely, the only reason I would watch this is to hate on it more thoroughly. Like, the plot of this movie is, hey, so all the continuities you like, all the Eureka 7, like, other stuff, that's not canon. Only this is canon. Only this continuity is canon. Yeah, the continuity with the compilation film that does not understand the show at all. Because guess what? We like watching Renton grow up and grow closer to Eureka and finally understanding the difference between just liking someone and loving someone. Like, that is genuinely great to watch. And guess what? Instead, we get fast forward where we get clips from like episode 47 and then we'll get an episode clip from episode 20. Like, why? Why? If you're making a compilation film, actually make it in continuity. You screw up your own continuity. Why would you do that? Especially since this comes out many, many, many years after the original. This came out in 2017. The original, like, Eureka 7 came out in, like, 2005. That's like a 10-year difference. Why? Why would you intentionally make everything more confusing? Like, ironically, the best film in the Eureka 7 trilogy is this. And guess what? This only gets this, like, bro. Oh, Lord. It is so bad. Like, And like, production can't even save these things because like the production is at least good, except for this one. Only 15 minutes animated of this is actually good. Vapor Trail. This one, speaking of production value, this one has terrible production value, a mediocre story, bland characters, and like honestly, I try not to hate because it's clearly like a few people's passion project, but like, bro, it's bad. Like, shoot, now I feel mean, but like it is just bad. Like, almost every aspect of it is bad to, like, mediocre, leading towards the negative side. And I just can't. I can't. Even if it is a small project with a small team, I'm sorry. I gotta. And then, screw it. One of the worst, probably the worst mecha anime I've ever seen. Actually, no, this is not anime. This is an assassination attempt. I do not care. This is someone trying to kill. This is literally a movie about killing Renton Thorsten. This is an attempted plot on Renton Thorsten's life. I do not care. That's not a movie. That's an attack. That's a natural disaster. Yeah. All right. Okay, good. There's not that much negative. Well, there is, but not for a while. I can just talk about normal human existence, because this will probably take me 2 years to record. GR Giant Robo, overall pretty solid. Once again, I like the atmosphere. Mecha anime does a really good job setting up the atmosphere, but the characters are worse. So, back to B tier. Ooh, the original Getter Robo. I love me some Getter Robo. Listen, okay, I'm an Armageddon baby. I know. I'm super unique, super cool, guys, right? The first Getter Robo project I watched was Armageddon. I didn't consume the souls of Kenny Shikawa, you know? I guess I'm a LARPer now, right? But no, I watched Armageddon, thought it was really good. Watched the 2004 OVA, Shin Getter Robo. I really liked it. Watched Getter Robo versus Neo Getter Robo. Liked that. Like, honestly, you're never gonna have a bad time with Getter. Like, thank goodness I have never had a negative experience with Getter. Because sometimes franchises can really, really, really shit the bed. That's the best way to put it. Getter doesn't. Thank goodness. So yeah, overall, it's a solid story with solid themes, solid characters, solid artwork. Everything about it is solid. The paneling, I would argue, is very good. It has a very good dynamic display of action. So that actually bumps it up from everything being very solid, like a 7 out of 10, to having amazing paneling and action display scenes, bumping it up to probably an 8. So yeah, there you go. Actually, I probably think it's better than the original. Yeah, there we go. I don't care. Listen, story triumphs fall, okay? Even politics. Next is Getter Robo G. Pretty much the same thing, just slightly worse. The characters are slightly more washed, and by that I mean we have Benkei. Oh my goodness. Benkei and Musashi. Obviously, Benkei is not Musashi is not a Benkei replacement. And the characters are not as fleshed out with the exception of Ryoman, because a lot of them had to suffer at the hands of the amazing finale of the original Getter Robo. Which, yeah, I didn't even talk enough about that. The finale is amazing in this manga. Learn to read, Mecha, you fools! Ooh, I'm not about to talk about Great Mazinger before the original Mazinger Z anime. That's very dumb. I don't know why it set it to this, because this isn't even the order I downloaded things. So it just kind of like jumbled random stuff together and just went kapow. And now I'm stuck here. Ooh, there we go. All right. So original Mazinger Z, quite solid. It doesn't paint a good atmosphere, but at the same time, it creates endearing characters. Obviously, I really like Koji. That's not that surprising. But at the same time, this is probably the weakest rendition of Koji. Now, I must say, he does get better with the introduction of Z Infinity. But at the same time, he's still a rather interesting protagonist, is the best way to put it. If I was a better editor and less lazy, I would probably put the scene of him slapping Sayaka, or like ripping her shirt and pouring soup down her shirt. Like, he has a lot of room to grow. He really toes the line between God, and by God I mean Zeus. Like, unironically, bro. He gets a lot better though, especially towards the later end. And then finally, when we get into the final, which is Great Mazinger, doesn't have as good characters, but it has better narrative structure and it has better development. So obviously, I would argue that Koji and Sayaka are more iconic and their dynamics are often more fun, but when it comes to actual character progression, Tatsuya and Jun beat him. They just do. On top of that, I would say it has a much better finale. The finale for Great Mazinger teaming up with Mazinger Z, and the conflicts between Koji and Tetsuya feel rather natural based on their characteristics. It's very, very, very good. On top of that, I haven't talked much about that, but Boss, his name is literally Boss. Yes, he is awesome. I have never met a single person who has watched Mazinger Z that does not like Boss. If you don't like Boss, I don't think you're real, so that's cool. I'm arguing with no one again, but at the same time, I'm talking into a screen, so I don't know what you expected. Anyway, crazy ramblings aside, oh my goodness, I still have this many to go. Let's talk about the Broken Blade films. All of them are quite solid, good animation, mediocre characters, interesting world building. I like the implications. However, it's not a complete story. I do not believe. I believe there is more to it through the manga. One day I will have to read the manga. That is not today. You know, I'm tapping into my inner shonen fan. I ain't reading today, boy. But yeah, overall they're quite good. The films though, it's either films or TV shows. Because they are films, they do have good production value, but they're not necessarily that amazing, that bad, that nothing, right? So, here you go. Yep, Gundam Wing. I actually don't mind Wing. I know it's weird. I'm watching it like change in real time, where Wing has a lot of issues. I'm not super fond of the protagonists, but at the same time, I still do get a kick out of watching them do what they do, right? And it does also get a little weird with its messaging. To be fair, though, that's also just because of it's a product of its time. Like, we could literally watch that in real time, for example. Double O, they're called freedom fighters, right? And in Wing, they're terrorists. This aired 2 years before 9/11. Like, you know, and to be fair, Gundam Wing, speaking of that, Gundam Wing is also the main thing that brought Gundam to the West, right? Which is probably how I got here. I kind of, not really, it's weird. I keep saying I'm not, like, the craziest Gundam fan, but I have tons of Gundam here, but that's also because Gundam is the biggest franchise, so you kind of just naturally get dragged into it. If you're watching Mecha, like, listen, if you're a Mecha fan, you're probably going to watch Gundam, even if you don't, like, consider yourself a strict Gundam fan, you know? But yeah, anyway, that's enough about me being pedantic, weird, and pissing off Gundam fans. That's for later. But yeah, Gundam Wing, overall solid. Animation is pretty good. I do like Endless Waltz a little bit better, though. And it is fine. It is Batman in Japan. Yeah, probably better than Robotech. Ooh, yes. You know what? It's better than halfway. Gundam narrative. I don't like any of the protagonists in this. I don't like the villains. I don't like... Or even, like, when I say I don't like the villains, some villains I love to hate, like Dr. Hell. He's the easiest example. I hate him, but, you know, he's very interesting to watch on screen just because, you know, his name is Dr. Hell. He's kind of insane, psychopath, all that jazz. The villains here are just kind of you know, main motivation, meh. Hell, honestly, I'm not even the biggest fan of the unicorn suit designs. That's not my thing. That's not my cup of tea. So it's kind of just, you know, you're there. I don't like you. I respect what you do, but actually, yeah, I respect a lot more. You know what? I top of D tier. I should not be that mean to something. It could be a lot worse. You know? Ooh, Aquarion Season 2. Okay, this one I go back and forth on all the time. This one has a better atmosphere and better side casts, but this one, I would argue, has a better narrative, although one thing that it does is it shoots this show in the foot more. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but essentially, with the themes of reincarnation, obviously, these folks are reincarnations of these folks thousands of years later. Well, they kind of do something with that makes me give a side eye and go, you should not be doing that. Like, at all. Like, at all. Like, I really don't want you to do it that way. I really hope this gets retconned. And it doesn't get retconned. But that's also because of the thing. So they retcon something, and the retcon is so bad that I wish they retconned it again. Like, so we just go in full circle. We don't get that. But at the same time, if I'm talking to normal anime fans, like, you know, the average Joe, this is probably going to be better than this, but love better, right? Like, ooh, I think this is Twilight. Is this Twilight Access or is this Thunderbolt Season 2? I think this might be Twilight. I don't know. Unfortunately, a lot of Gundam specials, they just kind of blend together. So you just kind of suck it up and just go, yeah, you're pretty alright. C tier. Yeah. Ooh, Origin. Origin is peak. It's so peak, in fact, that you forget Char Aznable is a loser. Yeah, I said it. Fight me. I don't like him in the original. He's interesting, right? But you will never root for him. This is the closest you ever get for rooting for Char. But then again, at the same time, he's clearly made out to be just another villain for other... actually, top of A tier for both of these. This is the movie versions of it, so longer episodes. This is just the normal TV show version. Both are good, because both are pretty much the same. You know, the formatting doesn't change the story that much. It doesn't make it that much worse or better. So just pick your poison. Except instead of picking your poison, it's more like pick your birthday cake, right? Because both are good. Anyway, yeah. Char is genuinely one of the most interesting protagonists the Gundam show has ever had. But do not ever call him a hero. He is not a hero. He is just an interesting person. And this is when he is probably at his most interesting. I don't like Char, but I like him as a villain. And then interesting protagonist. I don't like him in Char's counterattack, though. He kind of sucks. Alright. Macross. Oh, yeah, sorry, that's my bad. So I said I watched Robotech. I've seen Robotech and Macross. That's the one I meant I haven't seen any other Macross. That is my mistake. It probably bumped that up here. Once again, characters are more thought out. This is a good retelling of this. Like, you will like this if you like this, and you will like this if you like this. Just a lot of people get really up in arms about how the main protagonist... He's a lot more confused in here, whereas here he seems more dickish. But it never really came across that way for me, at least. So it's more so just people being pedantic. Hey, shocker, anime fans being kind of annoying? Who could have guessed? Anyway, yeah. So, both good. Just, let's be real, man. You can tell I have no Japanese accent because I don't speak Japanese. I like English pretty cool. So I watched Robotech first. Gundam movies are good. I think they're the best way to experience the Gundam franchise. Well, they're definitely the better way to experience the original show. All of them are probably equal, if I'm being real. Probably the worst one is probably part 2, just because, you know, it's the beginning of the story. This is the end of the story. You get more enjoyment out of the beginning and the end of the stories than you typically do the middle. But yeah, as far as that goes, they're all good. Amuro's a compelling character. Way more people have dived into Gundam than I ever probably will, because once again, not a Gundam guy. I'm a Mecha guy. There is a difference. Not that much of a difference compared to the other folks, and I don't ever want to be... Like, I know I really come across as that, oh, I'm not this guy, I'm this... But, like, I watch more things other than Gundam, and I just view Gundam in a different context compared to a lot of fans. Just because I've seen so much mecha anime that Gundam doesn't necessarily feel as mystical, as special. Because a lot of Gundam fans, unfortunately... They view Gundam as this, oh, I can't watch mecha anime except for Gundam. Gundam is the exception, not the norm. No, honestly, when Gundam even came out, it wasn't the exception, it was the norm with better writing and elevated. Like, I'm gonna be real. The gap between, like, Zambot 3 and Gundam is not as big as people make it out to be. But... at the same time, it did that in such a tight narrative threshold and provided such a threshold for new audiences, that being older teens, because, you know, fortunately, older teens do look at cartoons and they see a less mature story. Well, a war is by nature, on average, more mature than, you know, Monster of the Week format. And while I obviously disagree heavily with that motion, I don't control people's minds. I can't. Like, dude, I can't even get more than 1,000 people to subscribe to my channel. You think I can control the minds of, like, 1970s Japan? Like, that's not happening. Listeners, post-apocalyptic world, boy and girl together, Eureka 7, but not as good. Wow, is it going with the other Eureka 7 stuff? Who could have guessed? Actually, probably here. It's one of the few shows I've dropped. I got like 5 episodes into it, and maybe I'll pick it up again in the future, but for now, it's not, from what I've seen, it's not that good. But, hey, it could always improve. But that's for the future. We got Promare specials. Any more Promare specials that I am missing? I could just do them all at once. I'm blind. So give me a minute. Yeah, never mind. Screw it. Once again, ride by the seat of your pants. Ready? Let's go. Genuinely one of the best animated films I think I've seen in a long time. Probably ever will. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my Annie list. It's still a 10 out of 10. I love the animation. The characters, while not the deepest, still do provide enough narrative to get to the animation. If you love Studio Trigger, you will love this show. It is a love letter to everything Trigger, and with an animation studio that I hold that dear to my chest, naturally it's just going to be up in S tier. These are Promare specials. It's just more Promare. That's it. I can't even find them, so yeah. Ooh, let's talk about love. Is there any more Muv love I need to get out of the way before I Muv the love? Love is good. It actually does a surprisingly good job of introducing you into this world, where even though you're in like the midpoint of the story arcs and the character progressions and just the whole world itself, by jumping into it at this point, it knows it has to provide a lot of information and show a lot more than it tells. And it does do a lot of that. Now, obviously, there is a lot of telling. Why? Because they're in a post-apocalyptic world getting drowned out by alien, like, bugs. You kind of need a lot of context for the dark political war-themed story. But, at the same time, it's good. It does also paint humanity in a very positive light, for the most part. Which I know some people are going to take offense to. Not offense, but not like as much. Because unfortunately, a lot of people like it's becoming a very common trend where you watch the story and it's like, oh, humanity was the monsters all along. And it's like, the enemy team is literally like flesh-eating bugs. Yes, I am the good guy. I don't care, okay? Oh, but we experimented on them, so they're just as... No. Their species is like literally an evil hive mind of evilness to burn down planets. It is literally a virus. Oh, but we pollute the environment. Yeah, and they blow up planets. I am not a Saiyan, dog. I don't do that. Don't drag me into this. Like, you know, it has that aspect of it. So some people might, you know, not vibe with that because, you know, especially mecha anime, not particularly super political, but at the same time, Gundam and a lot of war stories are naturally political. Well, mecha anime goes Gundam, big mecha, it's the biggest mecha anime, right? And also a lot of mecha anime, war stories, sci-fi, a lot of war stories. What does that means? There are going to naturally be politics, so I'm just giving you that heads up. I have not seen Easy. I don't know why I decided to put that there. That's my bad. I probably thought I was going to see it because, you know, I did the terrible thing of believing the release schedule of stuff. But hey, that's my bad. I should never trust release schedules from the official websites. That's my bad. Daizenon is good. Characters are pretty decent. Animation pretty solid. Not the best thing in the world, but definitely a solid. Like B+. You know, like this might be our gateway into A tier. I'm still gonna do it. After all this time, nothing has changed. Nothing will ever change. There is no change here. Roxy World is still the same person he's always been. I like Double Zeta more than I like normal Zeta. I like Judo Ashita. He's probably one of my favorite protagonists. I love the comedy. I love the slow progression from goofy comedy to spice up the ending of and completely do a 180 on Zeta's head, only to realize these kids are slowly getting pulled into the war with Zia. I love Judah. I love his dynamic with Bright and the rest of the crew. I love the Gundam team. That's actually what they're called, because they all pilot different Gundams, like the Zeta Gundam, which is still around, the Mark IIs, and even like all the stuff. I love that it gives even Camille a happy ending. It's great. I love Double Zeta. You can't take that away from me. And then Zeta is just good. Listen, everyone likes Zeta more than the original. I am not that person. I will never be that person. But yeah, Double Zeta is where it's at, boys. I love Double Zeta. Everyone will always hate that opinion that I hold, but I don't care. I will rep Judah Ashita until the day I die, because he is awesome. Biggest underrated Gundam protagonist, because he's my boy. He's amazing. Second film. Hey, that's another thing I haven't seen. Okay, so all of this, I think I might just I'll add a row below. Actually, no, I'm not. There's the no tier and then not seen. Misspelled that. Just because I really thought I was gonna get... Basically, I'm under a time crunch. I gotta get this video out eventually, just to have something up during May, because, you know, May is gonna be a very busy month for me. So, I'm doing this now. In order to do that, though, I had to, you know, make some sacrifices. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Alright. 86. 86 is very good. Once again, another political drama, another war political drama, but this time it isn't too terrible. Like, the politics actually fits well into the world. It's a key aspect of it. It's not, like, obviously it's always a key aspect in a lot of shows, but this one, it fits naturally, I guess is the best way to put it. It naturally brews into the world and kind of fits together like a stew. The characters combined with the political drama, combined with the horrors of war, all of it mixes together just right. The best way to put it is it's either a stew or chili. You know, there are a lot of strong flavors that could overwhelm it, but they all sort of mix together in a proper way. And then it sits there for a decent amount of time, and it's just oh so nice. Oh, this is the Gundam Seed special. A lot of people say this is the best Gundam Seed has to offer. I do not agree with that, but it's still a solid B tier. Yeah, here. There we go. It's also a lot darker than Seed normally. Screw you, dude. How'd you make Godzilla not cool? I'm not gonna lie. Dude, they keep shooting themselves in the foot. They just can't make a decent Godzilla anime to save their life. Like, unironically, the fact that the best Godzilla TV show is still probably the sequel to the 98, even with, well, honestly, Legend of Monarch, or Legacy of Monarch Season 2 is kind of a disappointment, but at the end of the day, it's not as much as a disappointment as this thing. Oh my goodness. Oh, but I understand quantum mechanics and it makes it more fun. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay? Don't give me that bullshit. You're lying. I know you're lying. Oh, but I have a master in physics, and it's very... Shut up. Just shut up, okay? If speaking in complex terms gives you the satisfaction of believing that you are of higher intelligence, congratulations. Guess what? I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. You don't even naturally touch on the actual subjects of what makes Godzilla interesting in a more serious tone. So having a more serious show when you don't tackle these serious aspects of Godzilla, that being him, horrors of, I don't know, nukes. Not doing that just kind of naturally shoots yourself in the foot. And even then, are the characters good? Name me a single character from Singular Point. Exactly. Like, I can think of Serizawa, not from this, but from, it's an odd commodity where it doesn't properly lean into any aspects of Godzilla, and when it tries to do something new, it overindulges on its own, like, appointed ego where it thinks, oh, well, if we just throw word vomit at the screen with no narrative cohesion, it will naturally, equate to a good product. No, it won't. Like, it's just bad. Arc, production sucks, story good. There we go. Yeah, probably there. There you go. Rose of the Recapture. It's solid. No, it's not. It has a lot of inconsistent story beats, but at the same time, good production, and it does continue the Code Geass series going forward. I do at least appreciate that, but it causes a lot of narrative problems for itself that it does not need to do, and it is just a lackluster continuation, but a continuation to a franchise I love nonetheless. With good production value can often allow you to slip into tiers where you honestly should not be there. And that is how it snuck into B tier. Speaking of Code Geass, let's get these chaps out of the way, because these are just Code Geass, but worse. Like, significantly worse. Not really a good protagonist, not really good mech design, not really conveying a sense of dread, considering the fact that Japan has been taken over. So yeah, it doesn't really do anything that great. Kind of sucks. Gadoosh. Alright, next. Actually, I'm just gonna get some of the easier ones out of the way, like, say, the specials. The specials are pretty even with the show. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, the specials would coincide with the show, right? So, yeah. Oh! Let's dive back into Aquarion. So, Aquarion this is probably the second worst Aquarion show. Kinda also sucks, but character interactions are kind of saving it, because the protagonist interaction with everyone else is quite charming, quite pleasant. Mech designs are not that good. Overall story, not that good. Everything about it is honestly not that good, but good character interactions and decent choreographed fight scenes lead it to getting a just barely pass. Like, actually, you go down here. Like, I think of this almost as a test. Failing grade, not failing grade, right? Anyway, what else? Got the two things of Megaton Musashi. I got Witch from Mercury. I might actually just do Big O, although I need to double check that I don't have the two different seasons of Big O on here, just because 2 seasons, but at the same time, once again, it's the literal same thing. It's called Big O Season 2, or Big O 2, but it's just Big O. Again, the only thing is the studio didn't think it was going to be a financial success. And then Cartoon Network called up and said, hey, you should make more Big O. We will give you money and you will give us the show. That is how it is going to work, because you guys remember Toonami, right? Well, at least, even if you haven't seen Toonami, you've at least heard of the legends of Toonami, right? So, if that's the case, Big O Part 2, it's solid. The ending is kind of a clusterfuck, but apart from that, not too bad. I'm gonna put it, oh, actually, I'm gonna bump this up, because once again, atmosphere is very nice. Oh, and Roger Smith, he is a good protagonist. It just, I personally feel it doesn't lead into the aspects it promised at the beginning and even was building up to later on in the show. So I do not like the ending as much as I believe it could have achieved. And I do try not to hold that against the show, just because me, with my own imagination, coming up with, oh, how the story can progress with Roger Smith wondering about memories and how the world lost its memories and us being on this grand stage, me imagining how that could finally end and all that. It's not technically the show's fault for not giving into what I thought it was going to be. But at the same time, I feel that it did not properly deliver a truly satisfying product upon completion. And that's, like, simply put, just the ending could have been better. I wish the ending was better. That's the easiest way to put it. Ooh, Daigard. Super robot mixed with real robot. It loves the super robot genre, but understands that these things take a lot of paperwork and a lot of money. And it's not as much, I wouldn't say it's like super influential, but at the same time, also characters are rather mediocre, but man, the scale, the concept. Honestly, sometimes shows can just coast into tears on their concept, and just the mixing of super robot and real robot so fluently and so, conjoined, you wonder as, hey, these two genres were originally, there was no super robot, real robot. It was just mecha, right? That is what this is. It's such a good combination of that. It's great. I do love Daigard. And honestly, I think most people do too, because Daigard has a surprisingly cult following. Honestly, main protagonist, pretty cute. Sometimes they get a little bit weird. I don't like that, but at the same time, I do like a lot of the aspects and the idea of a virtual and real world. They explore that concept rather thoroughly. The mech designs is not that great. However, they use CGI to their advantage in this. Oh boy. The tracking and fluidity of the shots when the mechs are on screen, beautiful. But not as beautiful as Gundam Seed Freedom, baby! If you like Gundam Seed, you'll like this. If you don't like Gundam Seed, you would probably like this too. It's very good. Very, very, very good. Probably one of the best Gundam films, if I'm being a little bit controversial. I think that they take Kira in an interesting direction. I like what they do with him. This is probably my favorite I've ever seen Shin. And on top of that, Atherin's dynamic with Kira, once again, very nice. Someone has brought up the idea that they don't like that a major portion of the plot is a guy trying to cuck Kira to get to his wife. Or not wife, the woman he loves, right? But at the same time, he's kind of the bad guy, so it's presenting it in a narcissistic and terrible manner. And you could also argue it's good from Kira's, emotional standpoint, just because there is the major complaint of Kira does feel very stoic. So having him have to combat the main antagonist of this in an emotional way and physical way is just rather enjoying for the audiences who, think he's rather bland, right? So yeah, overall, very, very solid film. Kukuri's Dawn's Island. Another solid Gundam film. I like the characters, I like the story, I like the stakes. This is also part of the origin timeline, if I'm not mistaken. So one of the main contributors of people saying they want a 0070 remake. I've gone back and forth on it. I love 0070. I love the films. They're in A tier. But I do think a remake could tighten up the script, could give us better character moments, and also could introduce Gundam to a new audience, because it is very daunting for people when I'm like, hey, you guys should get into Gundam. And arguably one of the best spots to start Gundam is either a prequel to 3 films to a start of a new universal century, or like the just films themselves, right? Like, that is a lot of content. And that's why, alternate universes like Witch from Mercury are becoming kind of the norm for Gundam, right? Do I want to talk more about Gundam? Oh, no. Big up. Oh, actually, okay, so since I broke it up into 2 seasons, that actually means this goes up into probably A tier. Once again, atmosphere great, characters are great, and this one doesn't even have a bad ending, because it also doesn't really have an ending, so this one bears the sin, so this one can get into A tier, you know. This one is the only one guilty, I guess is the best way to put it. Ye not guilty. Alright, we got Witch from Mercury and Witch from Mercury specials. Actually, yeah. Let's continue talking about Gundam What Ifs. So, my opinion on Witch from Mercury has changed a lot. I do not care that this is like the first gay or like lesbian main protagonist in Gundam. I don't give a so peak. Soletta, peak. She is the based one. Okay? Mioride, you suck. You do. Special here. Actually, I'm still probably going to put it into A tier just because it is a very solid start to the franchise. Just to get into Gundam, you know, enjoy it. It's not as good as Origin, but honestly, it really does hurt it when... And to be fair, I didn't like Minorine when I first watched it. And now, guess what? I've gotten older. I've watched her pull her bullshit again. I still don't like her. It's just now... I have less room for bullshit. I remember the random scenes of her being mean. I remember, like, just random BS that she would do to Soletta. And genuinely, it does not feel... Do better, Soletta. I don't... To be fair, though, it does kind of... The couple and the dynamic of the couple gets better in the final part of Witch from Mercury. But at the same time, I would argue that the ending doesn't lead a super satisfying ending. After all, dude, like, the people who just tried to cause, like, a space genocide... are just like in a retirement home with no consequences to their actions. Like one guy goes to jail. It's not very satisfying from a, you know, we want to see the antagonist punished or at least the main characters, you know, kind of pull one over on them. It does offer a decent spin on the Char aspect though with Soletta's mom, but at the same time, it's gone down from the S, but is still very, very good. Endless Waltz. I like Endless Waltz from an animation standpoint. I like it from everything standpoint. It's just not amazing. It's a solid film that you will enjoy. It's a good ending to just, well, wing, right? It being in a different timeline, though, is a little weird. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, you know, just deal with it. I don't know why, but they did. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Ooh, trapped in a dating sim. I decide to become a mob and then I accidentally become the most powerful, yada yada. This is just NPC dude trying to like survive. He's a evil little gremlin, but he's not evil. I love the little bastard. Like, he just wants money and he wants to not get in people's way. And he ends up making money and getting in people's way. It's charming. The connection between the two other female main characters, really endearing. The main antagonist is goofy, but in the right kind of ways because she is the antagonist on an emotional level, and she fights them on said emotional level with the help of coercing the princes. Compare that to a physical means, which they cannot compete with, which is a major aspect of the story. Him knowing where everything is and using that knowledge to his advantage means that he needs to be challenged in an emotional sense rather than a physical sense. They lean into that aspect very much, and it just leads to overall great character dynamics. This show very much nails the character dynamics and is relatively popular considering, guess what? It's getting another season, so hopefully we get more good. I'm pretty sure I have both seasons of Megaton Musashi up here. I am just, once again, I will say it for the 4 billionth time, I'm blind! There we go. Alright, both seasons are going into a solid B tier. I don't know if you can watch these anymore though. Why? Because they were entirely fan-translated subs. There are no official subs, if I do recall. And they also have no real major Western exposure with the sole exception of me talking about them. People talking about the games, because the games are actually pretty cool. And also King of Lightning reacted to like the first 3 episodes or something like that. Like apart from that, no one talks about this. So yeah, but is there a reason for that? I mean, kinda. Like the characters, they're obviously this is very much a super robot tone, feelings, all that. But at the same time, it does a lot with the brainwashing of townspeople, the post-apocalyptic atmosphere, the just general, I would say, scale, which is rather nice. And on top of that, it does make use of its 3D animation. Obviously, I keep saying, I'm not a 3D animation guy, but you know what? If it keeps giving us mecha anime, and we actually continue to get this genre, I would gladly take it, because it's not lazy. You can tell the animators, they just don't have a big budget or a lot of time, and they do the best with what they can, and it ends up looking pretty solid. Ooh, Gridman Universe. Probably the best thing the Gridman series had made. I'm not a big fan of the original, but I do love this film. I think it is good in a story aspect, a character aspect, and it properly crosses over the entire universe together to deliver a satisfying and enjoyable finale. Ooh, boy. Actually, I should probably talk about normal Gridman then. I like it. Finale is not my thing, though. Characters are pretty well made. It feels more Super Sentai than Mecha. That's not a bad thing. I also like Super Sentai. It's Ultraman. Like, I know Gridman has been around for a long time, but this is, they love Ultraman so much, you can tell. And, that passion bleeds through the screen, so even if it's not your cup of tea, you enjoy it. These are the Code Geass movies. Code spin-off movies that are good, but they're not incredible. They're very solid. They explore the world a little bit more, give us more insight, and give us some unique characters. Probably top of A tier. Also, they have really fluid and dynamic animation, and it is Code Geass, so it is naturally very dramatic, but I kind of like that in storytelling. So, it's dramatic, but at the same time, it's dramatic in the right ways where, the drama elevates the action. But yeah, anyway, so it's a good retelling. It's a classic super robot show. Decent characters. I would argue that they nerfed down Koji a little bit, but then at the same time, he gets better later on. I love the dynamics between all the characters. I do like how well Mazinger Z is incorporated into Grid, because that has always been a kind of contentious thing where Grendizer straight up feels like a different show than Great Mazinger and Mazinger Z. So finally kind of merging the two together, it's very nice, very solid. Probably... yeah, it's not better than Zeta Gundam, but still, quite solid. Ooh, we saw season 2 of this thingamabob flying around here somewhere. Like, I remember that being there. Yes, very good. Very solid. Kinda another Megaton Musashi situation, but I would argue stronger character dynamics and just a stronger connection between the main cast. On top of that, the finale is executed rather well. They go to space, and I love the post-apocalyptic world design. It's not as great as, say, Aquarion, but at the same time, it has better characters. And honestly, a more fun and colorful dynamic. Ooh, Mecha Carbs. This is more of a shonen, just like your standard basic shonen, rather than a mecha. I don't know why it's considered a mecha, but it is, and that's quite alright. This is a fun short story about the time when Shinji was not around and everything went to shit. So just pretty much normal Ava. Yep. Oh, but don't worry. Here we go. Here's Data Live as a whole. I'm not a Data Live guy. I watched it because, hey, I like watching mecha anime. I try to watch a lot of mecha anime so I get a good digestion of the source material, and then I can speak on it very clearly and with a striking amount of authority. It's fine. It does get better later on, I would say, but at the end of the day, like, it's not that good. It's just... ironically enough, it's probably inferior to Infinite Stratos. Basically does everything Data Live does, but better capacity, better characters. I would argue a better setting, but also at the same time, it's also just fun. Like, dude, Infinite Stratos is just funny. Like, it just is. I love the dub for this. Everyone seems to be having fun, having a good time. The characters bounce off of each other rather well. It's not super different from other shows in its genre, but it's just a solid piece in the mecha genre. Although, once again, not really a mecha. It's just a fun and enjoyable show with fun and enjoyable characters doing fun and enjoyable things. And then every so often the plot comes along and you're like, that's nice, cool. Alright, send them to the water park. Oh, I think this is Bullbuster? Something akin to that. Very good. Takes the more business aspects of it rather than kind of like a Die Guard, but definitely not as good. So yeah, probably gonna go Code Geass. Probably one of the best animated shows ever made. I love Lelouch as a main protagonist. I love the world. I love the dread that it is given. I love everything about Code. Obviously, well, no, that's not. I don't like the kill all the Japanese scene from a storytelling aspect. That is a major problem that a lot of people have with the scene. But at the same time, it also comes back with a phenomenal season 2 with even more, interesting characters. I know, oddly enough, a lot of Gundam fans beef with a lot of Code Geass fans. As you can probably tell, I lean more towards Code Geass. But yeah, I do understand that it has its narrative shortcomings, but I can't deny that with such an interesting character and just an overall dynamic show with dynamic characters embracing and changing the world, you just can't help but sit there and watch, and you just want to watch. So let's do easy ones. There's just more Mazinger Z, just not as good. I don't know how else to tell you. Yeah. Ooh, let's crush Majestic Prince in one fell swoop, rather than do this, you know, back and forth. To do that though, I actually need to turn on my eyeballs and find Majestic Prince, because I know it's right here. But oh yeah, see, I'm literally blind. Like all right. So this is normal Majestic Prince. Very good show. Love the character dynamics. Love the group mentality. They really do feel like a found family. That aspect is burrowed into the show so deep that you can't help but just, you know, enjoy it. And on top of that, oh my goodness, the 3D. This show right here is honestly a prime example of why 3D animation in mecha anime can be amazing. This, if someone doesn't like, whenever you see a mecha fan that doesn't like CGI, show them this. They will love the dynamic fight scenes, the dynamic angles, the smooth and fluid motion all piled together in one glorious episode. And then the movie is a continuation, and it's still good. All of it is good. Majestic Prince is honestly very solid. It's very solid, very good. I actually will probably bump it down though. Obviously, the best aspect of it is probably the original show, followed by the movie, followed by the specials. The specials actually probably get bumped down. If we're being real, they're kind of just average, but at the same time they still do a pretty solid job. Oh, Mazinger Z destroys hell. I have read this, but apparently it's still coming out. To put into perspective, I had to translate this. Yes, me? So I want my credit. Yeah, I had to translate this myself. To be fair, I did use AI for that, but at the same time, I don't like AI artwork, but you know what? Dude, sometimes you need to translate the text, and that is a acceptable form of it, because simply put, no one is translating this. This would not be in English if you could not use AI to, you know, do that. And, you know, that's for better and worse. But overall, it is solid, decent characters, amazing action. I really do love the action and artwork. This, whoever draws this is the successor. Maybe not the successor to Go Nagai, but he truly does love the series, and he loves the worlds that Go Nagai makes. On top of that, there's tons of references, tons of little poke. The story is just fun. It's just good. Bravedon. It's a good series. It's very gay. I'm not even saying that, like, please don't take that as an insult, but yeah, this is gay. It's a decent show, but unfortunately, I'm not a repressed woman, so I don't really, you know, I don't really get too much out of it other than it being a mediocre show. Yeah, it's very gay though. Like, bro, it is 100% gay bait. You cannot convince me otherwise. But hey, apparently that's what saved Gundam, so hey, maybe it will work for them. This sucks. Does it suck that bad? No, it's better than you, probably better than you, just because it's so short. Main protagonist, not very enjoyable, but the action is good. The scariness of the Gundam is very nice. However, there is a lot of plot-induced stupidity for the Gundam. Like in the first episode, then he tears through multiple goofs. Then in the final episode, he'll have a hard time struggling with one zone. And it's not like there's a difference between the main protagonist learning and growing as an individual in order to fight the said, you know, white devil. But at the same time, guess what? Random father should not be putting that up against, well, the white devil. It creates its own inconsistencies, which it did not need to do, especially considering you actually could have saved budget by just having the white gun to be consistent with its own power level. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but the competence provided by the Gundam pilot staying the exact same would unironically decrease the amount of action scenes in the show and would therefore save a big portion of the budget, because this show also does not look the greatest. Oh, Zegapane movie. This still is not in English, not even subtitles, you're just screwed. Leviathan, pretty alright. It's basically mecha anime Dragon Prince. That is literally the best way it's going to be described. But yeah, overall solid B tier. Hero Organization. I love the concept. Characters are pretty cool. I'm not up to date on it, but I am very much enjoying myself with it. I'm probably gonna put it B. Oh, this one's pretty good. This is the less chatted version of I Became a Mob. I'm an evil intergalactic emperor, it's isekai story. It's pretty good. Not bad. I like the character. The main protagonist, it's not better than you, no. But production is kind of stilted. I do appreciate 2D mechs, though. I will always appreciate anyone trying to do 2D mechs. If you do 2D mechs, you have my appreciation. Like, it doesn't look the best, but bro, we all appreciate you try it. Alphonse? No, not Alphonse. Alphadite Zero, something akin to that. It's kind of just Gundam. It's more Gundam, but not as good as the original. Than a lot of things too. Movie, just a recap movie. It's not that good. Like, yeah. I remember Build Fighters. It kind of got me in the mecha anime. It's a very solid pick, very fun. It's more of a sports anime than a mecha anime, though. And it keeps that vibe, that consistency very nice, and it's very good. Also, the mobile suit designs and action scenes are beautiful. Oh my goodness, the Strike versus the... Oh, I'm blanking on the name, but I'm pretty sure it was a modified G Gundam in their hand-to-hand combat exchange. Probably one of the best fights in mecha anime history. Right then and there. And it's in Build Fighters, right? Like, if you love Gundam, you love this show, and if you want to get into Gundam, this provides a very safe entry point because it is... well, a fun sports anime with a Gundam paint job. Thank God it has good paint. Snowball Earth. I cannot truly say that Snowball Earth is amazing or bad. After all, it is still releasing, but the first season has premiered with around 5 episodes. It's weird. When I was watching it with my buddy, me and him were kind of not enjoying it, but when I look back on it, I see so much fun, so much enjoyment, so much just bliss of, hey, this is fun. Smile, you know? So, in other words, I am very conflicted. I will need to rewatch it. But a show that you want to rewatch to understand it better is a good show. And to be fair, it's not the best show, especially if you're trying to get into Gundam, because this heavily relies on the Universal Century continuity, and it is a love letter to Universal Century. I do actually like Gundam. I like the Universal Century, despite despite the jokes and me saying like I'm a Mecha fan, not specifically a Gundam fan. I still do like Gundam, right? So, in other words, shut up. Let me put it in A tier. I'm not a hypocrite. Gurren Lagann, one of the best mecha anime ever made, one of the best shows ever made. This is genuinely, the show encourages me to be a better man than I was yesterday. This show has so much personal connection to me that I will forever be indebted to it. I love Gurren Lagann. Even if I was not in that depressive state that I was when Gurren Lagann found me, I would still say that it is an amazing story featuring the growing up of Simone, feeling this larger-than-life figure while simultaneously being human. I don't even know how they managed to balance those two contradicting things, but they did. It's amazing. I love the side cast. I love the antagonists. I think the Anti-Spiral are a genuinely threatening and haunting antagonist. But at the end of it, the journey of Simone from boy to man is genuinely unmatched with 99.9% of all shows ever made. I don't understand people who don't like Gurren Lagann. I understand people who have faults with Code Geass and don't like it. I disagree with them, but Gurren Lagann is so good to me personally and fits everything I love about TV shows into one package so well that I genuinely do not understand people who do not like it. Like, it's hard to comprehend for me. That is how much I love this show. That is how good this show is. Like, I've actually met people who don't like Gurren Lagann, and I just look at them with pure puzzlement. Because at least with Code Geass, I can, kind of understand, Shirley dying, the Japanese scene, all that jazz, Suzaku being an IDF soldier. I do kind of understand criticisms for Gurren Lagann. I'm dude, the will of the drill is just too strong. Oh, buddy complex. Gundam with a time travel plot, and not that great, but not that bad. This kind of shoots itself in the foot, so it bumps it a little bit down. Actually, no, Snowball Earth. I'm gonna put Snowball Earth up here, actually. I'm really enjoying Snowball Earth. If it keeps, yeah. But anyway, down the buddy complex. Very solid. I like the dynamic between the two protagonists, watching their bonds grow, in sync with each other. That's very nice. The ending, though, very convoluted. I also kind of hate how they set up this one chick to be the protagonist's love interest. Like, she clearly had a crush on him. They've devoted so much time and effort into that. So to then have him get with another girl, it just kind of, I'm not mad about it, but at the end of the day, it is a solid series. Oh, how dare you stand where he once stood. But overall, it's fine. It's another Build Fighter series. Not as good as the original. It's just not. Yeah. I actually like Cross A. It's like, I know it's not the greatest thing, and I know there are a lot of narrative problems with it, but at the same time, the main protagonist, very solid. She's kind of what got me into this story. I would not have enjoyed Cross Ans as much if she was not just... She's almost like a mix of like Weiss, Schnee, and Ryuko Mato, which is the weirdest thing to say. But that's kind of the best way to describe her, and it just sort of works. Like, it just works. And I like it. I know it's very dumb to say, because normally I have a lot to say, but it just, I hate the main antagonist, but I hate him in a good way. I hated him so much, I wanted to reach through the screen and like strangle him. And that is kind of what you want this kind of antagonist to be. He's a smug, sexist bastard. So, like, when he dies, you go, yes, I am so happy about this. This is awesome. You know? Like, everything it does rather well, and it has its head and its chest held high. So, yeah. Season of Shish Kebab. About the same as season 1. It's good. Oh, Hunted. It's like Infinite Stratos, but I would argue a little bit worse. And also not as fleshed out just because it only has 1 season. No, I'm not reading the harem light novel. I don't care. You cannot make me. Full Metal Panic, I should talk about normal Full Metal Panic before I talk about, like, you know, I'm just gonna put them all in the same spot. They're all very solid mecha anime with good comedy, a very love story between the two. It's just good. You'll enjoy Full Metal Panic. It is 2000s though. It's pretty 2000s. If you're negative Nancy, you might not like that about that, but at the same time, it's good. Although, see, the final season ends on a cliffhanger. The studio that made it also, I'm pretty sure, went bankrupt, so hey, shoot me, I guess. Yeah. What next? Ooh, Jig. I like Kotetsu Jig. Love letter to Go Nagai's work. Is it amazing? No. Is it solid? Oh yeah. The problem is it doesn't really have a great sense of scale as far as the actual main, but the character dynamics are, once again, very fun. I love the contrast between the hot-headed protagonist and the cool side character. That's just one I'm naturally fond of. Think your Naruto and Sasuke. However, it's not Naruto and Sasuke, right? But it still does a really good job. Also, on top of that, the custom songs produced by Jam Project for the story elevate the action scenes quite a bit. The 2D animation is quite enjoyable. The final battle scene on the moon, beautiful. It's great. Everything about it is just quite solid. From character works to being an overall love letter to the original Kotetsu. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I like it. A lot of B tiers. Oh boy. Gundam Unicorn. Unicorn is solid. I know I gave new types a lot of flack, but it works kind of well here. I don't really like Benager as a protagonist. He's not the greatest, but he's not terrible. And it took the UC in an interesting direction. It also brought the UC essentially back from the dead, which I really appreciate. You know, it's weird. I keep saying I'm not a Gundam fan, but it's up here, actually. You know what? Screw you. This is my list. You go to S tier. Anyway, but yeah. Ooh, Nadesco. Nadesco is another A tier. Very solid. Is it better than Big O? Yes. It's better than... Yes. I like it. It's the right balance of silly and serious. It does a proper tone shift from the beginning of the end to the show. Characters are well thought out, well progressed. The twists at the end, and even the twists that coincide with the beginning, very amazing. Love story, rather beautiful. Everything about it is great, and then the ending leads very, very much desire in order for us to continue going forward in this amazing franchise. And they made it edgy. Shit. Okay, it's not actually that bad. It's solid, production value, very nice. The story, I do not like what they do to the main protagonist and the main female protagonist in the series. I do kind of wish we got another season or a continuation, another movie, where a lot of plot points, you know, are resolved, because unfortunately this sets up a lot and doesn't finish a lot, so it becomes very open-ended. Now that does really help me as far as Super Robot Wars goes, because whenever this thing shows up in Super Robot Wars, we get an amazing scene of the reignition of the sparks between the main protagonist and female protagonist, right? But apart from that, I'm not ranking this on how well it contributes to Super Robot Wars, because if that's the case, then Mazinger Z obviously goes in S tier forever. So, although don't worry, we're gonna have some Mazinger Z S tiers sooner or later. All right, I'm pretty sure that's Thunderbolt. Yes. That is very good explanation or continuation of alternate UC timeline, so I think putting it next to G-Quix just makes sense. Transformers the movie! I love Transformers the movie! I love Rodimus Prime, he's awesome! But they kill Optimus. I still have unhealed tear ducts because of that. Screw you! But yeah, overall, quite good. Very fun. Dog, you can't hit Transformers the movie, and it technically counts as mecha anime because that's right, technicalities go bird. Yeah. And then where did I put Unicorn? I put Unicorn. Longer episodes, TV show, movie, TV show, right? That's what these are. It's the same thing. It's pick whatever format you like. The original Eureka 7. I really like the original Eureka 7. I think it is probably a super solid, super amazing A tier. I think that Renton Thorsten, very good protagonist to keep us engaged throughout the entire series. I love Eureka. Hell, I like Eureka's kids. I think they provide a good narrative substance for Renton's development, and they even work as just general cute, kids in the show, because sometimes get annoying in this show too, but it's almost entirely to service the plot. It's great. It's amazing. Eureka 7 peaked with its first entry. That's just kinda life, unfortunately. Ooh, alright. We got Gundam 00. We have Gundam O, Gundam 00, Gundam 00 Trailblazer, all that jazz. So we'll do that, and then shebang. Alright. Gundam 00, really solid mecha anime. Really solid starter for Gundam. Protagonist, engaging. Well, no, the protagonist is the most boring part of the show, but the way he interacts with the others and where he changes the others, I like that a lot. But the show's not really complete without its second season. The second season improves everything, and honestly, is probably the second best Gundam show, or probably going to be the best by the end of this list. I love the gap in time and how the world has changed. This is a proper season 2. Not, we just make more episodes and call it season 2. This is a proper enough story where you could watch it and you could enjoy it as a standalone, but then season 2 comes in and just hits you with even more emotion, even more action, and a proper development of this world going forward. It is incredible. It's just really, 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 really great. And then the movie comes along. I like the movie, solid, but it's trying to be like, always make peace, always help people, all that jazz. That's good. That's not bad. I am not criticizing the film for its messaging about peace. That'd be stupid. I kind of don't want war. I feel like that's a pretty common sentiment. But at the end of the day, I don't like the finale and how it feels almost as though it betrayed what it was setting up in these 2 prior seasons as far as characters go, and how they would properly end up either together as independents, emotionally, physically. Everything just sort of seems off, like as if they had a different writer. And on top of that, it's one of those, since this one ended once again rather openly with, I'm not going to spoil too much, but it ends where you can imply there's more adventures to continue in the world, right? This is just no, that's not happening. You are getting no more. We know exactly what is happening for the next 200 years because of this shebang. That's not happening. You're screwed. Cry about it. And you know what? I have no more tears left to weep for the likes of you. Alright, Eureka 7 movie. Probably the best Eureka 7 movie, but it's once again Eureka 7, but a little bit edgier. The character dynamics is not as well dynamic as the original. Unfortunately, it is also on the shorter side as far as compilation films go. So you're just naturally not going to get the proper character progression that you would in the original series, but it also does something different. Yeah, just so you know, there's no more good Eureka 7. Oh, Space Runaway Ideon. Was that part 1 or part? There's part 2. All right. Part 1, I would say it's probably a little bit worse then, but not by that much. It is still a solid, movie experience. It's inferior to the Gundam, composite movies, but I don't know, so is most of the things on this list, so it's not really much to hold it against it. I like the ending. Characters, they're all right. They're kind of bland. Honestly, jokingly enough, this is one of those themes in such movies where the themes of it, the drama, the question it is asking a lot of the time is more interesting than the actual film itself. But hey, sometimes you need that. Also, the Ideon is terrifying, and I do really love the mech design for the Ideon. That does carry a lot of it, and the horror aspects of it. Ooh, what do I want to talk about next? Ooh, you know what? Let's do more Thunderbolt. And by that, I mean I'm just going to put it right beside the other Thunderbolt. Now, if I could see, and by see, I mean not be blind, I would probably do better. There we go. The first season is probably better than the second, though, if I'm being real. But yeah, ooh, let's talk. You know what? No. We're going to give more Gurren Lagann stuff. These are Gurren Lagann specials. They're just, special one-offs with characters. This is what we want to talk about. Childhood's End. These compilation films, first one, not that great, if I'm being real. I like it, but I don't love it. However, listen, I know the second film is a lot of, and then they fight, but like, bro, Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann has so much aura, so much presence, that this is the reason a lot of people watch Gurren Lagann. And even when Gurren Lagann is arguably at its worst, it is still incredible. So overall, it's going up there. Like, I would still recommend this movie to everyone. It's not going to be as good as the Gurren Lagann, but you gotta watch the movie. You gotta give it a shot. It's nice and fun. Man, it's kind of weird that I don't want to talk about Eva. Gurren Lagann, it's not too much. It's just a more condensed version of the show. Artwork is pretty solid. Once again, Gurren Lagann can only be so bad, Fine. Let's start doing things in order. Get a Robo is awesome. It's very solid. Very, very, very solid. I like the themes, and the ending is very potent. On top of that, I do kind of like how it fits in the ecosystem of mecha anime. It provides a good referential point for new and old comers, for anyone who hasn't seen it. Because if you're just getting into mecha anime, it's serious enough, silly enough, thought-provoking enough to, properly mandate itself in any scenario given. Gun X Sword, a very similar boat, except this one, it's its own original IP for better and worse, so it doesn't have the brand recognition, but at the same time, it still provides a very solid mecha anime experience with dynamic characters, dynamic action especially. I love how angular some of the shots can get. Shot composition is very nice. A combination of old Western vibes with mecha anime. Everything about it is very solid. Eva. I love Eva. Ava's very good. Ending kind of craps the bed though, but honestly, there's a reason everyone loves Ava. It's very solid. You can't... Listen, I know I'm Koji, right? But like, dude, Shinji was my boy. I so badly... It creates a sense of you want Shinji to succeed so bad that when you do it, when you see him kind of fail, it breaks your little heart. But yeah. Oh, there we go. That's Promare. Ava manga, okay, this is going to be really weird. I kind of prefer it over the anime. Ava to Ava, but at the same time, okay, so it's weird. I prefer anime over manga. That's how I prefer, I like the music, I like the voice acting. I believe it brings out an excellent point in all of this. I believe it always does so much. But at the same time, when it comes to story aspects and characters, I believe that the manga has a better handle on the characters, the story, giving, what characters need expanding on their backstory and giving that to them compared to what characters you can kind of cut out. It does a lot better. It has more hindsight, also combining the fact that it doesn't have multiple endings such as End of Evangelion and the original TV show. It combines it into one narrative through hole. I would argue it probably also has the best ending out of all the Ava stuff. Once again, I haven't got to the end of Anima yet. Once that happens, I will speak on that. But since we're talking about Anima, would I audiobook it? Oh my goodness, yes. The audiobooks are narrated by Asuka's voice actor. They are truly something to behold. And on top of that, I like the direction it is going. It is providing a lot of interesting questions, a lot of, interesting forward momentum for characters. And it's just generally more Ava, so it is quite solid. Also, it's leaning a little bit more into super robots, but I don't mind. As you can probably guess, I like super robots. Death and Rebirth. Screw you, are a compilation film. Again, except this time, you're a compilation film with, no real good pacing, because it's 1 hour is devoted to, death, which is considered, bringing you to all of Evangelion. And even then, it's There's other, like, some, this movie is even more irrelevant than ever before, because now there's Evangelion Death True 2, which is this film just plus End of Evangelion. So it's like you get an hour of recap, and then you get End of Evangelion. I like it. I like what it does, but it's not my cup of tea. But at the same time, respect it. I understand why people like it, but I will never be one of those people. I believe that they take Shinji a little bit too far in certain scenes, and also I believe the ending is potent, which does lead it to just an overall just stronger narrative. But at the same time, that potency can also lead to like discomfort. And also, I'm gonna be real, a lot of the mind altering stuff it just feels very unnecessary. I know it is supposed to be trippy, but I feel that sometimes you just need to make something normal. And this is one of those instances. I feel if Eva had just a normal ending, maybe it wouldn't have gone down in history the same way it did, but I overall think the product would have been improved upon. Yeah, I'll talk about Raising Project. It's like Infinite Stratos, but Evangelion. So you get the fun. Remember the high school drama from episode 26 where Shinji saw his life without Eva's, with like his mom, his dad, Misato as a teacher, all that. Very good. I like it. It's fun. It's probably one of the better harem animes I've seen, although it doesn't provide a very satisfying conclusion. I guess, kind of spoilers, it just ends with like G, Asuka, Rei, Mari, Karu, Kensuke, like all of them just being like, we're gonna continue our high school adventures together. But it's fun. Like, it just is. Like, sometimes you don't gotta change the world. You just gotta have fun with your friends. And that's what this series is. Alright, now we got Eva 1.0. It's pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna bump you down. I think I was smoking something. But yeah, Eva 1.0, really, really, really nice telling of the original 6 episodes, which I would argue are probably the second most iconic part of Eva, apart from End of Evangelion. Although, like, I'm gonna be real, End of Eva only succeeded because, you know, the first 6 episodes were that good. 2.0, I actually like 2.0 more than I like the action. I like the changes that they're making. I was very excited to see where it goes, and then I was really appreciative of what was going to happen. And yeah, I think it just takes Eva in a nicer, different direction, which is more pleasant. And then I like the final action scene is a thing of beauty, and the consequences of it leading into Eva 3.0 are very, very, very fun. I like Shinji having to deal with the guilt of causing Third Impact, despite the fact that we kind of see in this movie that Third Impact was stopped in the post-credit scene, but him having to tackle that grief of, oh my god, I'm the reason the world is like this is all my fault, all this. The grappling of that combined with the dynamic between him and Karu is probably better than in the original. However, it's only the second best, because the manga, I think, handles Karu the best. So yeah, you know, more controversial opinions. But yeah, overall, I think it handles it the second best. I love his dynamic. And I do love the metaphor of Shinji trying to essentially undo his mistakes so badly, and that desire to just instantly fix everything and get the easy solution, leading to even more problems and people getting hurt. I love that messaging about it. You know, there's no easy way to the top. If you screw up, that's on you. You know, you can't just fix it overnight. But at the same time, it is retroactively changed and kinda made weird by 3.0, especially because they do kind of confirm that Karu kinda like was the one. So originally this retconned to this, at least that little part, because it's like, hey, Shinji caused Third Impact, right? And then now it's like, oh, actually it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. And then also the people in it are very inconsistent. And then on top of that, I really hate Mari Maka. I don't know, if you guys want that video of why I hate Mari, genuinely tell me, because that will be a very aggressive and mean video. But I genuinely do not like that character, and I hate the direction she took the final movie of Eva with. And I do kind of hate that it ended on a on a low note, if I'm being real. That's how I view the rebuilds. Kaiser manga, pretty much the same thing. Oh, and then great Mazinger manga. I actually like it more than the original Mazinger Z, just because increased narrative prevalence, and also, once again, the finale with Mazinger Z teaming up with Great Mazinger to take down the foe. It's very good. It's a step up in the right direction. That is Robo, I believe. I think that's what it's called. Very good. Pretty much the same. Actually, where is it? Actually, I kind of like it a bit more, just because kind of the cosmic horror that it leads into and the overall progression of the Getter. However, the best is definitely Getter Robo Go is really good. Like, it's really, really, really good. I was not a believer when I first read Getter Robo Go. I thought it was going to be mediocre. I love the characters. I love the I know I keep saying the post-apocalyptic, but this one isn't really post-apocalyptic. It's just the more ongoing conflict they have, and I like the mingling of the international pilots. I love how, even though they are presented with small amounts of screen time, they are still given so much life, so much character, so much everything. It's just a continually good thing, right? Like, that shouldn't be that surprising. It is, but it isn't. Like, please trust Getter Robo Go. Believe in the Getter will believe in you. Mazinger, pretty solid. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible, but overall really good. All right, here we go again. So Mazinger is kind of like my white whale. It's my illusion. Why? Because it's an S tier, right? But when I give it an actual ranking, I normally give it like a 7.5. Why is that? Well, I think it's probably one of the best entry points in order to get into mecha anime. It provides such a clean, such a proper, such a cohesive, just enjoyable series. It's a little bit, it mixes the episode of the week with the, proper narrative through lines throughout the entire show. It adds in, proper aspects of the series, like Baron Ashura is obviously front and center as the main antagonist. They cut the other generals of Dr. Hell, which allows them to solely focus on Baron Ashura and their dynamic with Kochi Kabuto. Dr. Hell is really amazing. The final climactic battle is very enjoyable. On top of that, it provides such an amazing sense of scale. It is genuinely one of the best sense of scale I have seen in a mecha anime. So overall, it is quite incredible. Then we got the movie. Movie is pretty alright. I would say it's probably a step up. I love, once again, the feeling of dread but this time it's overcome by hope, which is generalizing Mazinger's power and just showing it off to the entire world. I do think that as an overall ending, and that's the ending of it. The beginning of it is far more dreadful and far more desperate, and it balances out those two rather well because, you feel the presence of Kaiser whenever it shows up on screen, which is good considering it doesn't actually show up until the later half, like almost the very end. So the grandeur of Kaiser is on full display. It just does what it needs to do right. All right. Wow. Is that Mazinger Zero? Wow, I wonder if Mazinger Zero is going to go where Mazinger Zero has always gone and where forever go, because it is genuinely one of the best manga ever made. Artwork, incredible. Pacing, dynamic and fast-paced, but still gives enough time for emotion. Action, well choreographed. Oh, what about characters? Don't worry, they're fun, they're exciting, and the proper development you need from all of them. It is truly heartbreaking whenever someone loses their life in this show. Mazinger Zero versus the Great General of Darkness finale is probably, honestly, I think it does a better job being a dramatic end to Mazinger Z than Endgame does to the MCU. Like, genuinely, that's how good it is. The coercion of other mecha anime into its narrative and what Mazinger Z means to mecha and mecha fans, just culminating in this beautifully illustrated, just masterpiece of a final couple chapters. I know that a lot of people think that the first half of it is underrepresented. I do believe that as well, because I do think Zero, but I'm gonna be real, there's a reason Zero is so popular. I have a model kit of Zero on top of my desk as we speak, looking down at me, judging me because I haven't built it yet. But, Zero is such an incredible manga. And even if you're not the biggest mecha anime fan, you will still probably get enjoyment out of it just from how phenomenal it is written choreographed, executed. Everything about it is just S tier. So that's why it's at the top of S tier. All right. Magic Knights. It's solid, quite solid. The main character is very charming, and the brightness he brings to the world is very great. CGI on point. Everything about it is good. 8th MS team, once again, very solid. Love the scale. The scale in Gundam OVAs is typically better than the show just because of budget, but also depending on who directs it, right? War in the Pocket, another solid one. Little more on the depressing side, but hey, if you like it, you like it. Star Blazer, I don't like you. It's not my cup of tea. I'll probably have to rewatch it to get a proper feel of it. It's one of the few mecha anime I've dropped. I can see the potential in it, and I can see why people like it, but I don't like pretty much anything about it. Actually, let's get a Robo. Another fun, enjoyable stop. Because this one, it's just a short. It's kind of like basically, Shin Get a Robo versus Neo Get a Robo is Get a Robo Go, but without the themes. So it's just action. But hey, it's pretty based. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty cool. Similar to Mazinger SKL. Same thing, just not... I feel like that leans too edgy, like even for me. It's ironically enough more 90s, despite it coming out in like the early 2000s. So yeah. Ooh, Char's Counterattack. I like Char's Counterattack. It's quite solid. But I was about to say we don't see enough character dynamics. We see a strong character dynamic between Amuro and Char. However, as the final ending to the Universal Century, or what was intended to be at least a finale of the Universal Century, it really doesn't. There's no Camille, there's no Judah. None of the OVAs are brought up or mentioned, which to be fair, most of the OVAs existed after the movie came out, but still, you know, it does not feel like a true finale. And on top of that, the ending, while thought-provoking and rather bittersweet, I feel it doesn't truly live up to any aspect of it. I've read alternate versions of it. For example, there's the one where Amuro has a kid, I believe, with another love interest. And I honestly do believe that is a more throughout, because, you know, it gives Amuro a greater purpose of fighting the Neo Zeons rather than just fighting, which is also very, you know, kind of disingenuous of Amuro's character, at least I feel, where it feels as though he needs a very valid reason to fight. And while obviously fighting, you know, space Nazis is a very valid reason, you know, I expect more of an emotional through line through a Gundam show. This is the premise you have brought up into it. And so, I don't know. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. Honestly, if I'm being real, if I had to choose between Char's Counterattack getting a remake and a 0079, I might actually prefer Char's Counterattack to get turned into a TV show and because it just doesn't have enough time to bake. It really doesn't. And it doesn't even feel like a true proper finale, if I'm being... Like, honestly, dude, pulling Camille and Judah out, I don't care if it was for whatever narrative reason you wanted to focus on Char. If this is the end of the Universal Century, I better see Camille and I better see Judah. I'm not even a Camille fan. I hate that little bugger, and I still want his ass in the movie. Okay? Pain. It's alright. Probably better here. Love the colors in it, though. Concept pretty cool, but honestly not great. Dub was hilarious because the voice actor for Sonic voices this guy as well, so I got a kick out of that. Yeah. F91, I'm just gonna put beside Char's Counterattack, honestly. Both of these are kind of in the same boat where they are solid films, you know, like they are, but both of these needed to be like 12 episode shows minimum. Like, there was so much going on. You need more. Like, they should have got the Victory treatment in spades. Speaking of Victory, though, I am going to put Victory. I think Victory is very underrated. I think the overall themes of kind of this boy maturing into a man and having the kind of dynamic between him and it's not his adopted mother, but that's kind of the closest thing to it. That is very engaging. I do like the captain. All the characters are very charming. And I also love how brutal the show gets, where even though it is arguably more kid-friendly than, say, Zeta or... Well, definitely Zeta, right? It still has that narrative punch that happens every so often. Like, we've all seen the gif of the woman getting, like, deep-fried by a laser. Like, she just gets evaporated. And Uso is not planning to do that whatsoever, but he just does, because that is the brutality of war. There are kamikazes and it is treated with very, very serious topic matter, because, you know, kamikazes are kind of a serious deal. right? So honestly, Victory, I think, is really underrated. I think it's very good, although I do understand 50 episodes is a lot, and it does kind of drag its feet. But at the end of the day, the final product at the very end is very, very, very enjoyable. Star Driver, very, very good animation. I like the environments they build. I like the premise is kind of nice. I'm not super big into everything they do and every story decision, but hey, it's good. That's why it's an A tier. Oh, okay. So we got Seed, Gundam Seed. This is probably gonna ruffle even more feathers. No, I'm not that crazy. Probably above you. I think Seed Destiny is worse than normal Seed. I think Seed is a great remake of the original when you view it in that context that this is the Gundam for the new generation. Like, this is the Gundam of the 2000s. That's what it's supposed to be. It does a really good aspect of that. Obviously, Kira is not the most dynamic protagonist, but I think the way he affects just the others around him is very enjoyable. I do understand there are major narrative shortcomings from the show, but actually, I'll move you up here. But at the same time, I do think it does provide a lot as far as how dramatic it can be, that it is very entertaining. Ooh, Gunbuster. People like Gunbuster. I like a Gunbuster, but I don't think Gunbuster is amazing. It's another, hey, this is a good mecha anime, you know? It's a good OVA. It's very artistic, very well shot. I probably like it more than Ideon, actually, now that I think about it. It's very good. Very, very, very good. Could be a lot worse. Did I forget? Oh, no, I got Diebuster. I'm not as big as a fan of Diebuster as I am Gunbuster. Diebuster is still quite solid. And yeah, definitely above you. But yeah. Actually, I'm gonna bump you down because, like, I have a lot of negative feelings towards you. But yeah, Gunbuster's really good. Diebuster is a notable step down as far as direction, action, storytelling, just overall motives of the characters, everything about it. But at the end of the day, it's pretty good. I'm really excited to see Gunbuster 3 or Tribuster. I guess that's what it's. Maybe that's what it will be called. Is that ever going to happen? Oh, no, of course not. Why? Because it's made by Studio Gainax, which kind of doesn't exist anymore. So, Ono, why don't you buy it and make it? You clearly have enough money. All right, Devolution. It is probably our first kind of mediocre mecha manga. No, it's our first mediocre getter manga. I do like it, but it's not great. Characters feel like washed out versions of their obviously normal getter installments, but still the getter team, right? They're still fighting against, impossible odds and overcoming it with the evolution of humanity. It's very fun. It is also one of the few getter manga that you can actually buy in English, which is kind of important, I am a very physical media kind of guy, but yeah. Ooh, Armageddon time. Ooh. I love me some Armageddon. Armageddon is another I would argue it's better than... Actually, you might be bumped up. Yeah, that's true. So, Armageddon is the same as Mazinger, just a little bit better, I would say. It's the, hey, you want to get into mecha anime? Watch this. This is based. It's awesome. It's a good package. Now, it does have, I would argue, better themes, better characters, and a better thorough story, or a better exploration of its story and said themes in the story. But at the end of the day, they're both an S tier. So, don't be mad, Getter fans or fans. Actually, since we're just throwing things in S tier, I love this, man. Maybe not as good as Code Geass, but yeah, there we go. So we got Shin Mazinger Edition Z, The Impact. So this is another quintessential mecha anime. You're trying to get into mecha anime, watch this. It has great setting. It's a great mystery. You want to know what's happening next. The animation is very clean, very dynamic, very powerful. Obviously, it doesn't have the greatest... It has a very great sense of scale, not as good as Mazinger, but like Mazinger is literally one of the best examples of that I can think in the industry, period. So this being, second or third place is not a terrible thing, right? So, next is Lelouch of the Resurrection. Solid A tier. No, you. Yeah. Very, 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 very good. You are just a compilation film of Twilight Axis, which means you go somewhere here. I think I liked you less than Broken Blade. I don't hate you as much as these guys. Yeah, just be banished. Iron-Blooded Orphans. I don't know how much hate I'm gonna get for this. I think IBO is better than Witch from Mercury. I think it is a really good introduction to Gundam. However, I do think that the second season does kind of shoot itself in the foot, but I do kind of like that aspect of it where it subverts your expectations, but it at least provides enough substance for you to be satisfied with your expectations being subverted in that trope. Where sometimes you feel as though it's subverted and you're like, why didn't you just do the normal way if you're going to do it worse? This thankfully provides enough context, enough character interactions, enough character payoffs, enough beautiful animation where you go, hey, even if the second season didn't go the way I thought it was, or the way the second season or the way the first season kind of made it appear to be, at least we get to have this enjoyment finale. And that's what you get. All right, we are down to the last couple. Let's go with Infinity. Infinity it's pretty good. It's a beautiful ending to the original Mazinger Z story. The animation, very solid. The characters, a little bit of change. It's more so like, this is the final stretch. Like, I don't even know how to say this. Like, in the original 92 episodes of Mazinger Z, all the way to Great Mazinger, that's Koji's, like, character arc. This is just, like, if that's him running a race, this is him doing, like, an extra lap. It's good. It's not necessary, but it's really good. However, now that it does exist, I'm happy it's here. You know? Like, I was never... When you watch the first 2 seasons, you never expected this movie to come. Right? But then it came, and you're like, hey, I'm really happy this is here now. Plus, the ending where Koji and Sayaka finally get married and they have a kid, it's just nice. It feels good, and she's humming the Mazinger Z melody as, you know, you pan up into the sky. It's a good, beautiful send-off to this franchise, which is ironic considering it's still going forward. To be fair, it's not the best ending, but if they made no more Mazinger Z content after this, it would be a good finale. But if we really want to talk about, you know, never making any more Mazinger Z content ever again, if that's the case, you gotta adapt to this. Would be the perfect ending if you never plan to make any more Mazinger Z stock content ever again. Alright, Giant Robo, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Another S tier. It just throws you into the world, gives you dynamic characters, a thought-provoking plot, an aggressive atmosphere, and honestly, even if it ends a little open-endedly, reading the book is still quite fun. I guess is the best way to put it is, imagine if you open up the middle of a really good book, or you open up like the second quarter. It's really, or like you open up just after the first quarter. It's really like that. It's a good book, and you kind of honestly wish there was more and you got to see the beginning and end. But at the same time, you're still very satisfied with what you received. And also, it looks incredible. It just does. Like, this is one of the most expensive mecha anime ever made, so just shut up and look at the colors, okay? You know what? If you don't like the themes of nuclear power and where we stand when we achieve that, go cry. Here we go. I like Darling in the Franxx. It just had a terrible ending. Yeah, guess what? So does Eva. A lot more narrative problems, and the sidecast is not as enjoyable, with the mech fights being less dynamic and less of a sense of scale, which is why the anime is all the way down in B tier, right? Compared to the thing I, compare it to the most. However, the manga, our final installment, is actually a significant step up. I would argue that it makes enough changes to the plot where if you like Franxx and you liked what worked in Franxx, it takes what worked and just keeps that. It goes, hey, people hated this. We just don't have to do that. Like, you know that, right? Like, there's no gun to the back of my head saying that I have to make this ending bad. Like, I can just make the ending emotionally satisfying for the cast, right? Because here's the thing. I guess minor spoilers, but like after I want to say like either episode 16 or 19, I think it's one of the two, this show just kind of like nosedives. Or there were problems in the earlier aspects of it, but like it just, like they took the plane and over here, they just went, yeah, what if we just cut the plot points that people hated and that suck? And guess what? It makes the product better. Because now, you can't say, oh, this is bad, these plot points are right. They're not there. And how they impact the story, obviously, they change it up a little bit. But at the end of the day, a lot of negative aspects that are in the original anime are just completely removed. Then you add on to the fact that they change things to be a little bit more angry. They have a little bit better sense of scale just because of the aspect of what medium they use. It's overall quite good. I genuinely do enjoy it. I think that if you don't like the original anime, you should just read the manga. If you haven't experienced anything of Franxx, I would probably recommend the manga over the anime. I just think it is better. But yeah, oh my goodness. That was a long video. That was a really really long video. Like, that is ridiculously long. Why? Because there are 207 things here. So I hope you guys at least, like, honestly, I don't even blame you guys if you skip to the end. I would hate it, but at the same time, you could always put this on during, like, a, you know, while you're playing video games, right? Anyway, yeah, after all of this, please subscribe, because oh my goodness, this hurts the very soul of the human race. Anyway, believe in the getter. Photon energy is the power of imagination, and I am the me who believes in myself. Anyway, that's all for now, folks.